Hey everybody, how are you? We are time traveling back into the 70s, 1973 and 1974 to be exact. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the gas shortages, rationing gas. What happens if it happens again? Who was the president then? It was Nixon. I looked it up to make sure because I couldn't remember if it was Nixon or Carter. Because I am a child of the 70s and I remember the gas rationing then. I couldn't remember what it was all about, so I went back and looked it up because I was a kid at the time. Um, I don't remember how old I was. Almost old enough to drive, or I was driving. I think I was driving by then. So 16? Something like that. Let's see. Was I? Probably not. I don't know. I can't do the math right now. But anyway, because it's too late and everything is funny. So, but I was going back and I was going to make a video about all the cool things we did in the 70s. And this came to mind, which wasn't a cool thing. I'll go back and do cool things later. But anyway, um, I just don't think people remember, if you're not of my generation, what happened back then. So at that time in 1973, gas was 39 cents a gallon. And by 1974, it was 53 cents a gallon. I didn't remember that. I remember the least I remember gas being was around 70 cents. So anyway, back in the day when the OPEC nations, I guess it was, did a oil embargo. They would not sell gas to the United States. I don't know what they got mad at each other for, but they got mad at each other. I can't remember all of that. But anyway, when you went to get gas, you could only get gas according to your license plate. So if it was odd numbers on your license plate, you had to have it had to be odd days of the week. And if it was even numbers, it had to be even days of the week. I do remember my father being very worried about that because he drove quite a ways to go to work. And so that was always an issue. But he did have a Volkswagen Bug that got super good gas mileage, and that's what he drove back in the day. We also had like one of those, yeah, it was yellow with wood grain station wagon, because there were so many of us kids. That's the way that they hauled us around. So, are any of you old enough to remember the gas rations back in the 70s? If so, what's your take on that? If you have not lived through that, um, how do you think that might affect you now in this present day time if that was to happen again? How would you get to work? What would your plan be? That was a crazy time. I only remember it, but I don't remember how it affected me. I just remember my father being very worried about that. You know, when you're kids, you don't really understand what they're worried about. You just go on and go do your fun stuff. So, um, besides being a child of the 70s, living through that, what were some of the cool things that we did in the 70s to, like I'm talking about kids, 10 years old to 15 years old, something like that. Do you remember back that time? We didn't have cell phones. There were pay phones, which are things they don't really have now. And we had phones that attached to the wall. Imagine that. We used to have a yellow phone that was attached to the wall with a super long cord, and you would stretch it everywhere and lay on the floor and wrap it around when you're talking to your friends. Yeah, I know. A lot of people wouldn't know what to do anymore with that. Also, during the 70s, for fun, we used to wrap houses, our friends' houses. Take the toilet paper and wrap houses. Boy, you wouldn't be caught wrapping somebody's house now with the toilet paper shortage and all of those things going on. But that was the best fun. And we didn't ever do it to be mean. If we had a slumber party at our house and somebody didn't get to go because they got in trouble and they were grounded, guess what? It's your house, got to get wrapped. We're coming to visit you even though you didn't get to come. That was back in the time. I remember the shows back at the time was Donnie and Marie Osmond. And we thought he was fantastic with his purple socks. And we, all of the girls, had to have purple socks too. I remember I had purple sparkly socks. They were fantastic. And me and my friends collected koala bears. Little stuffed koala bears, imagine that. Nobody would ever be caught dead with purple socks and koala bears right now. It has to be a video game or something like that. Let's see, what else did we have during then? Oh, I don't think other people did this, but me and my friends, we would go to the cemeteries and tell ghost stories and walk around and all that kind of stuff. I want to know, what did y'all do for fun in whatever generation you're from? If you're from the 60s, from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s. Okay, you 2000 people already know what you do for fun, but you could still tell me. Anyway, I was just sitting here thinking about it because I was talking about nostalgia a while ago, going back in the day, back to the 70s, back to my time. I was born in the 60s, but I grew up in the 70s and stuff. So back in that day, that was something I was thinking about. The fun stuff that we did that nobody would think is fun now, and also what was happening politically at the time. Although my channel is not political, I don't like all the political stuff and all of that, but what did we used to have to do? What was those papers? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, current events. We used to have to write a paper at school. What was the current event at the time? So back in the time when I was growing up, the current event was the oil embargoes, the gas rationing. So what would you do if they ration the gas now? And would you wear purple sparkly socks? Who was the heartthrob of the day? I think back then it was Andy Gibb, Donnie Osmond, Leif Garrett. I don't know. I remember we listened to REO Speedwagon. Let's see. Oh, this is getting me crazy. Oh, now my light went off, or the spirits are talking to me one. But anyway, I don't know if that's going to come back on. Probably not. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video in the dark. I'll talk to you later. Talk to me in the comments. Tell me what's cool from your generation. Maybe I get a little bit of light. There we go. What's cool from your generation? Who were the heartthrobs at the time? What was the current event when you were growing up? What kind of phone did you have? Is it a cell phone? Did you have a bag phone? Was it a wall phone? Remember when the bag phones came out? Everybody thought they were cool. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Y'all leave me some comments. Tell me what's up. Much love, everybody.